Amazon is entering the health and AI arms race. It is rolling out an artificial intelligence healthcare tool called Health AI. Are we happy about this? It's definitely got major implications for biohacking, anyone interested in longevity. This is Biohacking News. Hello and welcome to Biohacking News. I'm Tony Wrighton. Before we go any further, please do like and subscribe. And this is massive news today. Amazon entering the health AI arms race. Let's have a look at this and other stories in more detail with the chief health correspondent of Biohack Yourself magazine, Klaudia Balogh. Klaudia, how are you doing?
I am well, Tony. Thank you so much for having me back. It's always a pleasure.
Good. It's really nice to have you. We have you on every month or two now, and
Few
it's
months.
always love talking to you. We're going to be looking at your Dunkin Donuts versus CGM experiment in a couple of minutes' time, which I'm really looking forward to. But before that, Amazon is rolling out an artificial intelligence healthcare tool. It uses LLM models and references patients' medical records to answer questions, manage medications, and book appointments. OpenAI and Anthropic have already launched AI healthcare features earlier this month. This is absolutely fascinating. It's the future of healthcare. It's also fairly terrifying. What do you make of it, Klaudia?
Honestly, I feel like it was only a matter of time until AI will really sneak into our health records and will begin to sniff through everything that we have been given, every labs that we have records of. And I mean, it could go both ways. I mean, I'm seeing both ends of the spectrum where people like, this is exciting because finally now if I have that Amazon One Medical app and subscription and membership, I can ask questions from the AI that I might not necessarily need to go to the urgent care for, but I can get some guidance. But of course, there's always like, okay, is the AI going to be smart enough to prompt for, okay, you need to go and talk to a human right now because this is an emergency situation and you need to really take care of it, as opposed to just asking and going back and forth with that robot. But it's interesting. And it's very interesting. And AI has been becoming a really big part of healthcare, whether it's diagnostics, whether it's processes, systems. So Amazon taking this step is very natural in the pace of what we're seeing in the expansion of AI into every aspect of our lives.
Yeah. And it's a land grab, isn't it, as well? You know, they're all trying to grab as much land as possible. And this is clearly an area which is going to expand very quickly. I mean, what you were talking about there in terms of urgent care, we know at the moment that AI is incredibly powerful, but also extremely dumb a lot of the time at the moment. So don't trust any urgent healthcare situation to AI. But then beyond that, what I think is really interesting for biohacking is we all know that or biohackers know, and longevity enthusiasts know that getting a lot of labs and data and then interpreting it is very, very complicated. You know, for example, try and map your genetic results to, I don't know, an organic acids urine test or something like that, and it takes a really skilled practitioner to do it. So that sort of health-focused interpretation and guidance eventually probably will be amazing with AI, and probably even already is quite good.
I couldn't agree more. It gets very, very complicated. And especially if once we're stepping a little bit out of that biohacking realm where people are asking questions and they are a lot more interested in, okay, I want to have the data. I want to understand what this means. And I want to understand how this applies to me. And more often than not, doctors will not have the time to explain all of it and review all of the data points that you have and give you actionable insights within the 20-minute window that you spend with them, unless you have like a legitimate functional medicine physician who truly goes over everything with you. But it's not the trend and the norm in the US just yet. So what I think is really nice in having access to AI, having access to your medical records and to your labs and to your data, is really that aspect of, okay, let me feed all of that into you, because the AI's output is only as good as its input. So if you're feeding in information and asking questions in a very educated way, well, like, okay, review this. I need you to look at not regular normal ranges, but like what is the optimal range that I need to be in? How do I get there? What are some of the changes I need to make in my life in order to achieve that? And of course, always, I personally take it with a grain of salt. Do a little bit more research on your own after AI gives you something. Don't take it like this is the golden rule and this is the Bible,
Mm.
because I think it could lead to a little bit of confusion, misunderstanding, and perhaps misleading information if the input is perhaps not clear enough and the AI guides you array, not exactly where you need to go. But supposedly these AIs also have, or platforms, HIPAA compliance, which is huge. I mean, that's what a lot of experts are worried about. Like, okay, if everybody's feeding their medical records in here, is it truly
Mm.
secure? Is my data, is my health records,
Yeah.
which could be taken advantage of for insurance companies, is it really HIPAA compliant to a T where nobody other than me have access to
Yeah.
it and the AI and my doctor?
Well, so there's two things. Firstly, how good is it going to be? And secondly, data and who you trust. And, I mean, that is obviously a massive implication. But
Yeah.
to be honest, when I think about the average person, I don't think most people care that much. I think they should, but I don't think people
Yeah.
do. And I do. But when I think about the sort of data that I share with ChatGPT, and I don't delete it all, I did download a tool, quite a good Chrome extension. I'll have to just check it on my browser. Well, I use Brave browser anyway because it's slightly more secure. And then
Oh,
it's a
nice.
Chrome extension that bulk deletes. It's called ChatGPT Bulk Deleter. And I
Oh,
definitely
what does it
recommend
do?
it to people because if you're saying to sort of ChatGPT stuff like, "Oh, my health data says this. What do you think?" All your records are on there, and it's probably not completely going to get rid of them, but you can bulk delete all your chats. Otherwise, you have to do it individual chat by individual chat, and that's
Mm,
clearly sort of so time consuming that most people aren't going to bother
yes.
doing it. But I
Yeah.
just don't think people really care that much anyway, which is
Yes,
which is
yeah.
terrible, but they don't.
They don't, because it gets complex. If you really
Mm,
want clear and solid information, you really have to get really complex and nitty gritty in how you ask
mm,
it. And I think that's where a lot of people fall in the problems of getting information from AI, or even having AI draft anything for them. I mean, you go on LinkedIn, half the people sound the same
oh
because they
God,
don't
yeah,
really
yeah,
take the time to customize how their ChatGPT pops out
mm,
a caption or a
yeah,
response, and it just feels like people are losing their personality because it's extra time to make it a lot more individualized, like with everything.
mm, yeah,
But people just don't really care or spend the time, and it could be the same thing with the health situation. If you're not being precise enough to put in your information and your questions and your
mm,
situation, that you're not going to get a precise and perhaps even scientifically valid and reasonable response.
mm, yeah.
So,
Certainly, as an author who helps other authors, I increasingly see people's work that it's incredibly generically written when it's written
oh
by
my god, I
ChatGPT.
bet.
Yeah, and funnily enough, all of the LLMs seem to follow the same sort of linguistic tropes.
Yeah,
But they'll sort of use phrases like "it's not X, it's not Y, but it's Z,"
it drives
and
me
all these
crazy.
sentence fragments, which work so well, of course, but not if you're using them all the time.
Yeah.
Um, it's amazing to see how some of the most prominent names in our industry just post it day after day without tarting it up and actually
Yeah.
making it their own work. It's fine to use AI to edit, but if you're just using it to write everything, you can quickly get found out.
Yeah. And it just feels
But then,
inauthentic. I mean, in our world, authenticity is literally the biggest thing why
mm,
people are attracted to you and why they want to get advice from you, is because you're authentic. You have your own opinions and you have
mm,
curated this knowledge from so many ways, and you're educating people in your own language. Now, if you're educating people with AI's language, people all of a sudden, like, this is not, in my opinion, I feel like it's not
mm,
authentic when everybody sounds the same. Then, like, okay,
yeah, yeah.
put some flavor in that.
Put some flavor in, for goodness sake, put some flavor in.
Gosh.
Come on. Now, but what I think is really interesting about this artificial intelligence healthcare tool is that a lot of us listening to this podcast have used tools like the Oura Ring for a while. And we know that actually things like HRV stats can be a really good indicator of how you're feeling. You might feel, for example, you might feel a bit crap, but your HRV is fine. You think, okay, that's okay. Or your temperature might be raised by a degree overnight, and it's quite a good indicator that there's a virus on the way of some description.
Yes.
But then there are other parts of the Oura app and other healthcare apps that don't sort of seem to work quite so well. It's always in there just for the sake of providing some extra stats.
Yeah.
I wonder though, when you start to combine the sort of thing that you're getting with Oura with cold hard stats and Amazon's layer of data interpretation and AI, it could get really interesting quite quickly.
I think so, because you can find out trends at an even deeper level. For example, if you put in your health data from 6 months ago and you also import your Aura data from 6 months ago, and you also maybe put in, what you had done in those 6 months, if you had any records of it, then instead of you trying to figure out what are some of the trends, then maybe the AI can give you, okay, this is what I'm seeing during July or March. Your data showed XYZ, but you also worked out more, or you were at higher elevation. So there are things that allow you to, biohacking is all about connecting the dots and making sense of what you do impacts you in a way that is either helping you or hurting you. But it takes a lot of mental load to interpret what happened yesterday, what I did yesterday, and how it's showing up in my day to day. Now, if you go back months and months and months, it's even harder. But now with AI, and if you're feeding all of your information into it, then you can just ask, what happened in July that perhaps prompted my HRV to be at an average of, 50, when my usual average is around 30. And then with the information that you have put in, it can give you some pointers that perhaps could prompt you to change some things around. So,
yeah. Health AI explains lab results, assists with medication management, and schedules appointments. Amazon indicated the AI can analyze images and answer general and complex health questions while considering a patient's health history, emphasizing it complements existing healthcare providers. The company also states Health AI recognizes situations requiring human clinical judgment. It also affirmed that conversations with Health AI are not automatically added to medical records, and the company does not sell members protected health information. Good. And what's probably going to end up happening? They're going to find, at a massive LLM scale across all of Amazon's AI, and probably Anthropic and OpenAI as well, they're going to find, when people go to bed earlier and eat earlier in the evening, they sleep better and they have less health problems and less information. I bet you that will be the sort of functional decisions that it comes up with.
So many things are now pointing to that, and people are talking about even those major personalities in this space who are not in healthcare, who are saying that if I'm doing these basic things, my health is better. So, but it just takes a lot of time and a lot of repeating over and over again until it gets to the average person.
Yeah.
Because they're still lining up at the drive-thru at 10 o'clock at night.
They certainly are. Yeah.
So,
well, that's going to be really interesting. And as I say, they're not the only company doing it. OpenAI and Anthropic are doing it as well. But it's clearly quite big news, and is going to be something that interests a lot of people who listen to this podcast. Let's move on then to, you mentioned drive-thrus.
Yes. Nice
The Dunkin Donuts versus CGM experiment. I think when I saw you post about this on Instagram, we just recorded a podcast. I think it's about a month or two ago that you did this. And I made a note to ask you all about it because I thought that sounds fun. What exactly? So this was you did an experiment, right?
Yes. So I did an experiment as part of a story for Muscle and Fitness, and I did it in partnership with this fitness expert called Joey Thurman, because I connected with him. I wanted to do a story with him, and he's like, okay, I'm thinking about having a CGM on and seeing how Dunkin Donuts eating only items from the Dunkin Donuts menu, how would that impact my blood sugar, and what are some of the things that I can sort of do to counteract that roller coaster of a highs and lows in glucose response. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it with you because I want to have the females aspect of how it might be different for women. So, and I was already wearing a CGM, so it was an easy in for me. So we set a day to go to Dunkin Donuts 5 times a day that's primarily because we each needed to hit at least our protein intake. So I wanted to hit at least 100 grams of protein. So I used AI to, okay, I'm a 36-year-old woman. This is my weight. This is my usual routine, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to eat only from Dunkin Donuts for 24 hours. I need to eat 100 grams of protein. What are the meals that I need to eat in order to hit that? Nothing else mattered in terms of how much sugar, how much carbs, how much fat was in that in those meals, but I needed to hit the 100 grams by the end of the day. And so I put together a meal plan for me, which included for the morning, I had these breakfast wraps or the breakfast sandwich with a croissant and as well as coffee. And then 3 hours later, I had 2 egg wraps. So it was, it was the usual eat
They do
every
wraps
3
and things as well.
hours. Yes,
Yeah.
it was supposedly, healthy because eggs, bacon, and like some type of a carb, whether it was a sourdough sandwich or it was a croissant or it was a wrap. And it was interesting to see. I did have a donut that was with my second meal. And because I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So
I bet it tasted really good, that donut as well.
The
The
donut did taste
biohacker
really
eats
good.
a donut and it's so good.
It did taste really good. They do donut really well. Everything else just tasted pretty bland. I mean, honestly, I made a comment when I was filming it, when I had it was a sourdough sandwich that I had after my workout, because I'm like, okay, you know what? I will have the bigger meal, which was the sourdough sandwich with like egg and bacon and cheese. I feel like that egg never saw chicken. Like it just did not taste right.
Oh, gross.
But I was like, all right, okay, so anything for journalism, right?
Yeah.
So the whole point was to see how all of those meals would impact my blood sugar. And what I found was that obviously I had a baseline because I had been already wearing the CGM, the continuous glucose monitor, for about 10 days. So I had a baseline of usually being around low 80s, high 70s, which is a really solid, good blood sugar, stable blood sugar situation. And most of the meals that I generally would eat didn't spike me over 100. Even if it did, it would have to be like if I had ice cream for dessert. And every single meal from Dunkin Donuts spiked me over 100. With the meal that I had the donut, it spiked me over like 120, which was still on the lower end. I mean, Joey's spikes were 160. So his spikes were a lot higher. Obviously, his intake was a lot higher too, because he's like 6'2" and 200 pounds and a very muscular guy. So his body needed a lot more protein, which meant he needed a lot more calories. So he probably ate about twice the amount of calories that I did. And what was interesting to see, which generally shows the biggest issue in America and while people are developing insulin resistance, is because the meal would spike my blood sugar over 100. And then before my blood sugar would even go down to baseline, I would eat within about 3 hours, when most people generally reach for a snack. It would spike it back up again. And then before again it would go down, it would spike it back up again, which would mean that I would have insulin circulating in my bloodstream the entire day. Now we know from a lot of experts that as long as you have insulin in your bloodstream, you are not burning fat, because insulin is a fat storage hormone. So people who want to lose weight, eating every 3 hours, especially if you're spiking your blood sugar significantly, you are not tapping into that stored fat. Initially, you're storing fat because insulin just does not have a chance to go back down, and neither your glucose. So it was really interesting to see how, if I were to eat that day for years upon years, it would be a direct path toward insulin resistance, because over time, because of the constant insulin, my cells would become more insulin resistant, and would it require a lot more insulin to usher that glucose into my cells and muscles and etc. Now, what was interesting to see that we both experienced with working out. So obviously, when you have a larger spike of glucose and you have a bigger meal, if you work out, it will push that glucose into your muscles because you're putting them to work. And we had a little bit of a different experience because Joey had felt like he was very vascular and he's just felt like having a pump. I mean, a lot of guys who enjoy working out and going to the gym, they love having a pump. And if you have a big carb loading prior to working out, you generally have a very nice big pump. Now, for me as a woman, I felt like at the beginning I had energy, but even my blood sugar showed it went right up. And after, because I did a little bit more of a HIIT workout to deplete those glycogen storages in my muscles, and then my blood sugar went way down into like mid 70s. So for that time, it went so low that all of a sudden I didn't have the energy. So the lack of stability and the lack of balanced blood sugar, regulated blood sugar, was just making me feel hungry and angry all day. It was not fun. As much as I had over,
so you
like,
felt hungry and angry all day.
yes, all day. It was so frustrating because the meals would be high calorie, but low nutrient density. So I didn't feel satiated after more than like 10 minutes. It just felt like it wasn't fueling my body in a way that I generally fuel my body, which tends to be a little bit more fiber, which of course these meals lack pretty much completely. So, and that's one of the things that a lot of Americans deal with, is not having enough fiber in their diet, which would keep them satiated a lot longer. So those quick carbohydrate filled meals quickly spike you and then quickly drop you back down, which creates that yo-yo effect of feeling, yay, I've got all the energy. 10 minutes later, oh, give me another snack. So it was just really showing how really eating those types of foods at the frequency that we did, and most Americans still eat in that frequency, or at least snack on something every 3 hours, that just throws you in such a terrible trend of blood sugar dysregulation. So it was it was interesting, but I wouldn't necessarily do it. We talked about it, maybe doing it with like Taco Bell, which like I don't want to eat Taco Bell because I haven't had it since college and it's like terrible for you. So
is it? Yeah.
It's just,
we don't really have Taco Bell here, so I don't know.
There's not much that's natural in any of what
it just
there's.
corn
It's
and
just,
meat?
it's a lot of it's like Mexican type of food.
That's very naive.
Their flavors are actually good. I used to really like it in college before I knew what really was made up of.
Right.
But it's just not great. Just a lot of additives and flavorings and sweeteners and not great. So yeah.
I'm glad that you didn't do it for more than a day for you, because honestly, like, I think that would be really grim. And I sort of really admire, because it's a real service that you've done here. That is like I listen to that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I don't eat crap. But obviously, because
the feeling of not feeling satisfied and just being hungry and angry is just not how I like to feel. And but yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you remember Morgan Spurlock's Supersize Me very, very well.
Yeah.
Morgan Spurlock, who sadly died last year after eating McDonald's every day for a month, and that was Oscar nominated. That was in 2004. He's only 53.
Wow.
And then the other really interesting experiment that I very much enjoyed was James Nestor in Breath. I don't know if I've had James Nestor on this podcast, but the book
I
Breath
just interviewed him the other day. He's really
great. He's a great guy, isn't he? And he's I often, when I'm speaking to authors about writing their books, I'm like, go and read James Nestor's book, because he's taken a topic that you would think might be quite boring, and he's made it very, very interesting. And what he does is, at the start of the book, he blocks up his nose for 30 days so he can only breathe through his mouth. And of course, he's really not very well after that, because he's emphasizing the point about how important it is to nose breathe, especially at night. And so those two experiments, very, very important. But if you do it for a long time, it's not going to make you very well. So I'm glad for you that you didn't do it for more than a day.
It's only for one day, and then my body bounced back. And I think that's what I keep talking about, even on my podcast, the 90% healthy, a little bit of plug, healthy podcast.
No plugs, except you just
want just a little bit. Because as long as you build up the resilience of your body to really withstand the days like that Dunkin Donut weird 24 hours, then one day is not going to wreck you, and it's not going to throw you into insulin resistance, unless you really have a body that has been compromised and frail and not
Yeah.
resilient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couple of other stories I wanted to talk to you about. Obviously, I've been talking over the last few weeks about the American official
Mhm.
dietary advice, which has had this incredible reset. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw RFK's video that he posted on his socials drinking milk, but he's sort of had some fun with it as well. It's quite impressive. But I just wonder, because you chat to so many people in the industry, as the sort of fuss dies down on it a little bit, what I mean, most people that I've spoken to within our industry are delighted about it and think it's really amazing. But it's very interesting reading the comment sections of posts like RFK's post and many others, because there are a lot of people in this world who are not happy. Least of all, vegetarians and vegans aren't that happy about the new upside down pyramid. But
Yeah.
what's the sort of reaction that you've had speaking to people?
Most people, I do agree. They say it's a breath of fresh air. It is so nice to
Mm,
see finally what we've been hitting the drum for years and years in this world of biohacking and health optimization, where eating real food and in the structure that was now introduced actually sets you up for a stronger body and mind and overall
mm,
health long term. So, but they are getting kickback from the industry that talks about, you don't want to have all that much red meat because of the cardiovascular issues and the studies that have been saying how bad saturated fat can be for you. But a lot of the
mm,
things that have been thought have been debunked over the years. And even the opposite is true, that saturated fat can be protective and can really, obviously, you don't want to do anything excess. But I think it would be a big step for Americans at large to at least take that step to eating real food. Like
mm,
that, if you take away anything from that pyramid, is to lower your intake of ultra processed food and lower your intake of alcohol and sugars and really, really eat real food and learn how to cook. It's
mm,
really not rocket science. But also, a lot of people are loving it because it's basically telling us that full fat yogurts and full fat milks are good for you. And you
mm,
should be eating protein at a much larger amounts that most people do. But what's interesting to see, and what I've seen pushback also, is that it might go in a direction where a lot of people think, oh, I need to eat protein, I need to eat more meat. And they forget how there are a lot of good sources of plant based proteins that are also important pillars to your overall health and especially gut microbiome. And the problem with Americans eating very little fiber could also just widen even more, because if they continue focusing on protein, then their fiber intake is going to continue to decrease. When
mm, mm,
it is also part of the pyramid that fibers and the right amounts of plant-based sources are super important. It does state it, but I'm not sure if
yeah.
everybody will take that part away as well, as much as they take protein. I need to eat more meat. Give me the burger.
Mm. And I
Yeah.
think some of the articles that I've seen since the last time we recorded this podcast, it is a bit depressing how reaction sometimes seems to divide along party lines, especially in the States.
Mm.
Because it's okay to dislike some things that a party does, but not everything. That's all right. It's okay to have opinions that don't necessarily sort of
Yeah.
completely align with either right or left or whoever you support. I was looking at, I've got one article here from the San Francisco Standard that says the
Mm.
government's new food pyramid tastes like tech, bro. The longevity dudes have taken the power back. Sky high
Oh.
protein, little carbs, and of course, beef tallow. And as you can imagine what the rest of the article reads, really. But it's just sort of depressing because actually it does make sense that a food pyramid would have lovely natural stuff at the top,
Yeah.
with plenty of protein and a limited amount of whole grains and sugar at the
Yeah.
bottom.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, studies over and over again have shown that those are better ways of creating your diet than what was the other way around. Like the other way around that led us
Yeah,
down the
yeah.
path of developing insane obesity epidemics and massive all-cause mortality rates. Now, finally flipping
Mhm.
the pyramid literally could perhaps help bring those statistics back to something that's a lot healthier and normal, to
Yeah.
even reversing certain conditions, as long as people really take things into their own hands and do a radical restructuring of their diet.
Mm.
Yeah.
And talking of politics, in your role as chief health correspondent of Biohack Yourself magazine, you were at Mar-a-Lago, weren't you? And were hanging out with, amongst others, Mike Tyson. Is he a biohacker?
Well, he is working on it. I mean, the guy has been hit on the head so many times that if he wasn't
Mm,
biohacking, I think he wouldn't be able to show up at places like this. So
mm.
I'm sure he's biohacking, but he's mostly just focusing on recovery and eating the right foods. I don't think he has all the gadgets that you and I play with every now and then.
But how was
Yeah.
it at Mar-a-Lago? Was it
It
fun?
was really nice. So it was a fundraiser for America's Future, a nonprofit organization that helps child trafficking and human trafficking, particularly protecting children from being sold and being trafficked across border lines. So it was a
Mm,
wonderful cause, and they had a panel discussion with individuals from different sectors, whether it was media, whether it was health, whether it was even actors. So there were a lot of different people who came together to support the cause and celebrate making change at a
mm,
level where we are looking at the country. And also, well, a lot of things that we talked about is that resilience, how a lot of people there, whether it was Mike Tyson, whether it was um, a couple other people, they generally have had some type of pushback, whether from the government or the public, where they had to hang on, keep on
mm,
going, keep their head up high, and really rise from having knocked down many, many times, in Tyson's case,
mm.
literally. But it's
Yeah.
really just all about how much resilience you can build up and how are you creating this legacy for the future generation, because they were awarding, I believe, 6 awards for the champions for America. These were individuals who have contributed through service and through different types of work that have benefited our community, our society in one way, shape, or form. For example, there was this one adorable man. He was like 101 years old, World War II veteran. He had
Mm,
stories up and stories that he was just saying. I mean, I don't know what the old man was doing, but he was really healthy. I mean, he was in great condition. His brain was
mm,
sharp. He
mm,
was he was kind. He was moving on his own. 101 years old. It was wonderful
mm,
to see, and the resilience he needed to have in order to be there. And also, there was this other Navy SEAL guy who has gone through some serious um, health issues, having come back from combat and having been hit, that has written a book and he's really now encouraging younger generations to build that resilience, whether it's physical or mental and emotional, to be able to show up in this world. Because a lot of them are saying that our
mm,
generation, especially younger than me, so in their early 20s, they are not necessarily creating an environment where they have to be strong and where they have
mm,
to be resilient, because a lot of the things in our environment is making us mellow and sit and not necessarily strong. So you have to actively be taking steps toward making yourself
mm,
uncomfortable and making yourself face adaptation in order to really build a body that can withstand emotionally and physically whatever life comes your way in your adulthood. So it was
mm,
very interesting. So
mm,
these individuals were awarded, and that was pretty much a celebration to, like, okay, these people have given back, have stood up from being hit, being knocked down, and it was really nice. And of course, Mar-a-Lago is beautiful, so it was my first time there, and it just felt
yeah, yeah.
it was felt really good.
Great. Yeah. Well, that's a lot of travel that you've been doing. Obviously at the end, I've asked you this before, but I'm going to ask you again. I like to know the biohacking routine of my guests, and
Mm.
bearing in mind you travel so much, what is your routine, and what is the routine that you can take on the road as well?
So, yes, I have been traveling a lot. And I did want to say that as much as biohacking is growing, I recently went to the Fit Expo in Los Angeles, where it was all about fitness and bodybuilding. Now there's still a bit of a gym bro culture. There's still a lot of those
Yeah.
supplements and pre-workouts that are filled with crappy ingredients. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of that generation of like Gen Zs and Gen Xs who are like, oh, that's great. Let's go. Let's get a pump on. So it's, but there are a
Yeah.
few longevity companies who are tapping into it. There was this one company who had a PMF device, and they're like, we have to educate these people on all of this. Nobody's ever heard of recovery through PMF. And I'm
Mm.
like, it's wild. So as much as you and I, drinking our own Kool-Aid, like this is everywhere,
Yeah.
you go to
Yeah.
a show that's massive and people have zero clue. It's very
Right.
interesting.
Right. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
biohacking stuff that I take on the road, I do have like this pharmacy bag that I have all of my supplements in. So I always double
Mm.
down on antioxidants like vitamin C's and zinc and vitamin E in order to really make sure my immune system can withstand everybody freaking coughing on an airplane. Like it is ridiculous. People are
Yeah. Yeah. Grim.
constantly sick
Yeah.
on airplanes. So I'm always boosting my immune system with vitamin C, vitamin D, 3K2, the nice combo. So those are my staples, and then magnesium. And then when it comes to gadgets, a couple things I travel with. I have a small portable red light. So I travel with
Mm.
that. And I also travel with my
Do you?
vagus nerve stimulator. And those
The
fit
red
it.
light, you'd use that every day at home, and you use that on the road as well?
Yes. So not maybe not
Yeah.
every day, but there are
Mm.
times when I'm on the road during the time of my cycle when my body needs a little bit more extra love. So then red light really helps me
Mm.
with my cramps. So I love
Mm.
traveling with my
Does
red
it?
light.
Right.
And then
That's
there's
interesting. Yeah.
there's another new tool that I started to travel with, which is like super tiny. It's the gua sha. It's like the scraper.
Gua sha.
I
Yeah.
think it's
Oh,
called gua
right.
sha.
Gua sha.
Yes.
Yeah. Gua sha.
Gua
Yeah.
sha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, it was like $20 from Amazon. But I tend to,
Yeah.
because I sit so much on airplanes and I need my body to be stimulated, and I don't always get to work out or foam roll. And this is
Mm.
such an easy way to fit. And I literally would just have it on the airplane, and I'm the weird person who gets out her scraper and I'm just moving a little bit more, moving it on my calf or on my legs to get some microcirculation going, because I do feel that having been
Mm.
sitting so much, it just drives me crazy. I feel so sluggish. And I think
Mm.
the scraper helps me a little bit to break up, especially if I'm sore, break up some lactic acid if it that all does that. But it just makes me feel better. It's the best way for me to keep my body massaged a little bit on my own. So
Yeah.
that,
I mean, the one you got is pretty cheap though, because you can pay
yeah.
a lot more than $20 for them. And I think we had Katie Brindle on this show who sells them and is a big fan of them and Chinese medicine in general. My wife Faith definitely uses it a few times a week, I think, in the shower, I think.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
But it's just a stone, right? And you rub it over your
So
body.
um it's a metal thing. So it does I do have the stone version for the face, which is like
Right.
this
Yeah. Yeah.
jade thing,
It's like a
but then
jade
for the
stone.
body,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a jade stone, but for what I use for the body, it's a metal. It's like stainless steel, and it's shaped like this,
Right.
and
Okay.
one side of it, yeah, and you just kind of just like rub it and do that, and it just feels good. I really enjoy it, so I've started to take that with me on trips. Sometimes I used to travel with just a little baseball to try to break up some tension, some pressure points.
Yeah.
And so these are some of the easy tools that I travel with. I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, the supplements, the red light, the vagus nerve, and the scraper. Those are my
Yeah.
staples right now. Especially when I travel only for a couple days, I only have a carry-on, so I don't pack a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. I don't have a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of
Yeah.
course I have
And
snacks. I tried Paul
snacks.
Saladino.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried Paul Saladino's new line, the Linear, I think it's called. No, not
Is
Linear.
it good?
And it's good. It's got some serious flavor.
Yeah.
He has these so these are jerkies as well as beef sticks, but they're all grass-fed and regenerative, and it tastes nice. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah, they
remember
do have a strong
when I
flavor.
think on this show you and I talked about Peter Attia's snack range? Do you remember?
Oh, no,
There's
what did
they've
we
got
have?
like I think it's called, is it called
Oh, is that the David bar? No.
Jason, or it's like it's David. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, David. Is that Peter Attia's?
I don't like it.
Yeah, Peter Attia is the chief science officer and
Yeah,
officer and investor in David, a high protein, low
David.
calorie
Yeah.
snack bar. The ingredients are a disgrace.
Yes,
I don't mind saying that.
seriously, I was disappointed. And
Yeah,
it also doesn't
yeah.
taste good because I tried it. A friend of mine had it, and I was like, let me try this thing because I will not go and buy it because it just, first of all, anything that has sucralose in it, it's an immediate no for me.
Exactly. I mean, it's got sucralose and it's got loads of other stuff in it as well. I'm just on
Yeah.
their website to try and get exactly what the ingredients are, and
Yeah.
unsurprisingly, it's quite hard to find them. But I really was shocked at.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was prepared, I would have the ingredients here. But surprise, surprise, they are not. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
It's okay. So the main ingredient is a protein system: milk protein isolate, collagen, whey protein concentrate, egg white. Okay, not too bad. Binding system: maltitol. No thanks. Allulose, glycerin, soluble corn fiber, tapioca starch, soy lecithin. Fat system: modified plant fat. I'm not a fan of that at all. Modified plant fat. That is a sort of new fat quote. And then scroll down, 2 artificial flavorings, sucralose and what is it called? Acesulfame. Is that how you say it? Acesulfame?
Something like that.
So 2 separate artificial sweeteners, as well as modified plant fat. I'd rather unmodified plant fat.
I was very
unmodified
unimpressed.
fat.
Yeah, very unimpressed. And I did see them at the Fit Expo, and I mean, some people love it. They're really high protein. Yes, they're very high protein. So for somebody who doesn't mind sucralose, but it doesn't sit well with me at all. I notice it. I rather have monk fruit or stevia all day, every day. Yeah.
It's really nice to talk to you. So what are the next travels for you over the next month or so?
Next travel, I have a trip coming up that I can't really tell you about yet. It's a little bit under wraps. I'm excited next month, but I'll share about it once it come, but it can come to light. But I'm doing a couple of shows in March. I'm going to be at the Expo West in Anaheim, California, which is the Natural Products Expo. It's a big one. I'm helping a friend of mine at her booth. The one about
so not on your journalist beat, but just
no,
hanging out. That's lovely.
I'm not walking the floor this time. And then I'll be speaking at the Biohackers World in LA in the end of March. So a few trips there. And then yeah, there's something every month. It's insane how there are conferences around health, longevity, and just health optimization almost every month. I could go somewhere almost twice a month. It's ridiculous.
And when I think back to 10 years ago, this massive trend on Instagram at the moment, people posting 2016 versus 2026.
Yeah.
And 2016, I was flying off to watch Paleo Effects and the biohacking conference with Dave Asprey because there was nothing else in the world that did those sort of things. And now there's loads. It's amazing. It's really.
I was in London at the time. Wait, was I? Yeah, 2016.
Really?
I was in London. I was in grad school.
Yeah. Well, a lot has changed in the longevity world. But good luck on all your travels. Give us a clue. Come on, give us a clue on this thing you can't tell us.
It's going to be exotic.
Is it something to do with? Oh, okay.
It's exotic. Okay, I'm excited.
Right. Yes. Okay. Well, keep us posted on that. Let us know. And you mentioned, can you just tell people where to find you on Instagram and obviously your fantastic podcast as well?
Oh, thank you. I love a little plug. So everybody can find me on Longevity Journalist on Instagram, on Twitter, etc. And also my website is also longevityjournalist.com. And I've got a podcast called 90% Healthy. And it's all about helping you optimize your mind and body without losing your mind. So it's just giving you the easy tricks that can help you get to a healthy point without over-optimizing and over-obsessing on everything. I co-host it, so I can't take credit all on my own. I co-host it with a sports scientist, exercise physiologist, expert. And we kind of go back and forth, breaking down studies and bringing on guests. So sometimes it's just the two of us. Sometimes we have guests who come on. We should have you on.
I'd like to come on. I'd very much like to come on. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, a lot of my work at the moment is looking at the intersection between longevity and behavior change as well,
That's
and
awesome.
how much behavior influences longevity. And it's just an area that people don't look at. You know,
Mhm.
there's a lot of research, but in terms of our world, people are focusing on diet and genes and so many other areas, but they're not really focusing on the stuff. Behavior seems to move the needle more than anything. So that's a really interesting area for me, based on the fact that I've been looking at behavior change for 20 years or so.
Yes. Very
We'll talk
cool.
about that.
Okay. We
Yeah,
gotta we gotta
yeah.
take that offline and I'll
Um,
get you scheduled.
yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, and Claudia, before you go, congratulations on being appointed the chief health correspondent of Biohack
Thank you.
Yourself magazine.
Thank you.
That's
I
very cool.
appreciate it. It's been a great journey and there's a
Yeah,
lot of cool stories to come.
yeah. I think next we need to get you writing a book.
Yes. 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 You know, I started it. I got
Come on.
stuck. It's between everything. I
Yeah,
kind of fell off the horse. So I need to just resettle.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, great stuff. All right, Claudia, really
Yeah.
lovely to talk to you. Thanks for coming on again.
Thanks so much for having me, Tony. It's always a pleasure.